Oh, the fuck? Okay, wait, I cannot see you. Okay, let's try call.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you. Okay, now let's fix this glove cam. Oh, there you go. Show stream. Okay, I see you. Okay, perfect. All right, now. Oh, by the way, we're live. We're just doing some sound checks and stuff to make sure everything sounds all right and looks all right. Just to let you know. And you look saucy. I love the background. All right, now, try to talk.
Hello.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now, nitty gritty stuff. On the tab below you, do you want to say Rovex? Do you want to say David? What would you like to say, man?
Probably rovex.
Okay,
That's what
gotcha.
most people know me.
Okay, you sound good. Let's see. It's so weird the collab camp doesn't come through, which is so freaking stupid. But, this is fine. Okay, it's coming through, my Discord. So you're called through Discord, but your cam is coming through here. Do I sound double or anything like that?
I think I heard you on browser, but I just muted it.
Okay, sick. Perfect. Okay, so what we'll do now then, we will, let me go, what I'll do is I'll shift it back to just starting. I'll do that for like a couple minutes. Then I'll shift it back to here and like do the intro, okay? But we can talk. It will just be muted for a little bit for everybody else.
All right, no problem.
Perfect. Thanks for the follow, baby. Dude, you're popular. You're popular. All right, yo, what's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell, Psych Sensei, and welcome to QueueUP, baby. And I'm so stoked to be here at the. Oh, I should turn off my turn off the Spotify so they can hear us. I'm here with the powerful and knowledgeable Rovex, baby. What's good? How you doing today, my friend?
Same as always.
Same,
Not much.
which is good. I hope at least, man. Like, what do you mean, same as always, crushing it? Like, where we at?
Existing. Waking up,
Existing.
being alive and breathing in moderate health.
And every day above ground is a good day, right? Absolutely. So, welcome to the show, man. I'm so excited to host you. I've been a fan of yours for a while. I've watched you come up in the scene. Even played against you a couple times in collegiate, so it's so fun to sit next to you, get to know you, understand who you are, some things that you've seen in collegiate, and learn from your experience, and hopefully we can get some takeaways for anyone else that's trying to pursue the League of Legends dream. How's that sound, man?
Sounds absolutely fantastic. I would love to talk about it.
So first and foremost, dude, tell me, I have to know the lore. How did you become or choose the rovex, man? Where'd this name come from, dude?
Oh, I don't have them with me right now, but rovex is it's a name of two dogs. It's Rovi and Rex. It's a little brown dog and a little white dog, and I've had them since the dawn of time, since I
Mm,
was like 4, maybe younger. And they're like little plushies, and one's my brother, and me and him used to share a computer, and we played MMOs, and we would name all of our characters after these dogs.
ha!
And mine was Roby and his was Rex. And then at one time we finally decided, instead of making like two accounts, we would just make one. And then we put Roby and Rex together, and it was Rovex, and that was many years ago, and I've carried
S-
that name till now.
So what you're saying is that your name originally started from account sharing, huh? We got him. We got him.
Yep. Well, Drew Levin isn't listening.
So okay, into that then. How did you even like get into League of Legends? Like, what made you choose? You could choose any game, but you chose League, man. How'd you get here?
Oh man. Shout out to my boy Chucky. Now, this was in grade 9. All my friends were playing League at the time, and I refused to play because I only grinded Maple Story, and at the time I was always competitive with everything, right? So I played the MMO, and I was like, I'm gonna be the best MMO player. And then it came to it where my friend Chucky was trying to get me to play the game for so long, for like 1 or 2 years, and then at the time I was there's a thing in high school that I would do, like we like boys do stupid things, and there's one my stupid thing is that with my friends I would take my shins and I would crush their shins with it, and like people would see how long they could survive like the shin crushing, and then no one could last like 5-10 seconds. They would be in too much pain. And Chucky pulled up and he's like, if I could last for more than a minute, which to me was free, he was like, you have to play League if I lost it. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. He beat me. Long story short, he beat me, and I downloaded League, and then I played it. And then from there, it kind of just spiraled out of control.
Okay, I have just some more questions. All right, so when you say shin on shin, so it's like shin on shin, like kicking, or it's like pushing,
You take, like, if this is like the other person's shin, right?
right?
I sit across from them, and then here's my two shins, and I would just like clamp
Like a
onto their shin,
scissor
like bone to
action.
bone. Yeah, bone to bone, and just squeeze as hard as I could. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, Chucky got like rock solid shins or something. I've never met titanium like that before.
And he's like, "All right, well, you think this is painful? Just wait till you play League of Legends. This is where I was trained and bred to like withstand pain."
Yep, that was in like that was season 3. He won that bet. I haven't
So,
stopped playing since.
okay, so when you started, like, tell me, like, what was like the thing motivating you? Because it sounds like from that day, that's where it kind of started. You applied like the same like competitive thing that you had for like Maple Story into like League of Legends. So like, how'd you get that itch? Like, what was it about League that like kept coming you like making you come back even till this day?
Oof. It was my one real good friend, and I've been known to be I guess a stubborn person, or a lot of people like to say I'm eventually just a stubborn person. But my friend at the time was silver, and I was unranked. And I remember I was playing casually, but then he argued with me one time because we were playing like a norms,
Uh huh.
and he was like, "Oh, you're supposed to go on this guy," and I was like, "No, I'm not. Like I had no mana. I couldn't fight him." And he was like, "No, but I'm silver. I'm better than you."
Oh,
And I don't even know. I don't know what devil possessed me for the next decade of my life, but I just thought about that. I'm like, well, no,
what did you
no,
say?
this guy's wrong. I'm gonna prove him wrong. And then so I started grinding like crazy. And then once I started grinding, in the first year I played, I got diamond, and I was like, let's let's see how good I can get at this game. And with my ultra competitive drive, I was like, I'm gonna try to hit rank 1. And then yeah, never stopped.
Never stop. All right, so like, okay, my question now is like, okay, where's the silver player at? Is he still hard stuck? Like, where are they at?
Unfortunately, he's no longer here with us. Rest in peace,
Oh,
Elgin.
rest in peace.
He's a great guy, but he definitely kickstarted my competitive drive in League.
Nice, nice. All right, so you started league, and then what was the mindset of like taking it to the next level? Of like, okay, now I want to compete and actually see like how far I can take this on like a team scale. Like, what was that? Your transition like? How did you get started? Because I know that's like a lot of barriers for, um, like players who want to take it to the next level. So, what was your journey even into competitive?
It probably started around season 6. I was already aware of LCS in season 3 and season 4 because at the bottom right of the League client, they would always feature the pros, and I was like, dude, I want to be a pro. But at the time, I was a one trick. I was a one trick Lulu, and then I ended up when I started getting into the challenger, I was still a Lulu one trick, and then I didn't really start switching champs until season 6 because they nerfed Lulu for like 2.5 seasons straight, just like 8 nerfs in a row. So I started playing different champions, and then by midway through season 6, I had stopped one tricking, and then I was starting to look to play comp, and then I didn't get my first real comp experience until 2017. I played a lot of weekend tournaments, and then by 2018, I got my full real comp experience in collegiate.
Yeah, what was that like to go from, because I'm guessing you're like training or you're learning in your room by yourself, and then all of a sudden now that you're like in college or whatever, you are exposed to a bunch of different people at the same place. So what was that transition like of being an online warrior to in person with actual people?
Oh wait, sorry. The before the collegiate experience was the Panama experience. I played professionally in land for 30
Mm-hmm.
days. That was a terrible, absolutely terrible experience.
Tell us about
I,
it.
I went to I I met this some guy hit me up on Discord, and he was just like a Latin American team owner in tier 2, and he hit me up to play, and I eventually I just I was like so depressed at the time because I was just grinding League all the time, and I was like, this is something new. I'll just take it. He's gonna pay me money. Why not? So he gives me a 3-day notice, and 3 days later, I'm in Panama and I'm playing League, and I don't have internet, and I'm living in like some random stranger's house. There's bars on my window, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna be completely naked, and there's gonna be water dripping on me, and it's gonna be a dark room with just
No kid
water
me.
stains everywhere around me. And I was convinced I was gonna die, but at the time, I was like, it can't be that bad. I survived it, and then while I was there, I got my collegiate offer, and I think that was more of a professional environment, I could say.
Okay, how did you convince your parents that you're going to go to Panama to play League of Legends for this team?
You know, in a strict Asian household where
That's what I mean, brother.
I could not leave my house without like giving every single bit of information to my parents about who I was with, my geolocation, exact place, my altitude, and like everybody's phone numbers. But then when I wanted to take this offer, obviously they told me no, and I was like,
Obviously, they told me no.
uh, I was like, look, I don't even like day to day. I don't even know what I'm living for. Like, I can't live like this. I'm just gonna go. You can decide to support me. You can kick me out if you want. You can say you can disown me. You can say I'm not your son, but I'm leaving. I'm going to take this. And I just took that leap of faith, and yeah, I made
Okay,
it
yeah.
out alive.
All right, this is the second time you said that you're really depressed. Like, what was going on in that period of your life where it was like really bad, or you're super depressed, dude?
Oh yeah. So I had a lot of competitive drive with anything I did. In school, it was always sports. So I played volleyball, and then I was a cross country runner, and I would always push myself to the limits to the point, and I could never stop. I was always addicted to the grind of anything that I did. And when you do it with sports, you hurt yourself, and then if you train through injury, you make sure you can't play anymore. And it took me a while to actually understand that. When I was in high school, what I was balancing league with was Muay Thai,
Oh
and I
shit.
got a Muay Thai injury on my ankle. And obviously, the young me just didn't care. I was just gonna train through it, and it came to a point where like I just can't do it anymore. I'm like struggling to walk out here, and there's like there's an infection on my ankle. So I'm gonna like lose my leg at this point if I keep doing it. And I was so sad. So I took out my physical activity. So I stopped eating as well as on top of not sleeping as well, and on top of just grinding League endlessly because that's how I supplemented the competition that I wanted to do.
Okay, how and when did you figure out? Because you're saying like it sounds like you have like this really strong mind, where even in this like example of like traditional sports, even like Muay Thai, like dang, I got this injury, I'm gonna train through it because of like that's what you do. Like you just tough it out or you train through it, and like that's what warriors or athletes do, right? And
Mhm.
then that got kind of cut out, so you went to a league and you kind of applied the same like push through mindset, which makes me think like you had a really really strong mind. When did you realize, or did you realize that your mind was too strong for the activity that you're trying to apply it to, or like how that changed over time?
You know, when you word it like that, I don't even think of it like that. I don't even think it's a strong mind. I always thought of it as just be the best, or the subconscious thought is always be the best, no matter what you do. Always be the best at it. So that's the only way I've thought about it
When did
and still do.
you, I mean, even though you thought of it like that, like how did it change over time, or did you approach it the same way, or is it still that type of like vibe when you approach it like League now, for example?
Now it's different in terms of what I believe is the best. Now, you can be the best at something, but putting investing hours directly into that activity does not make you the best at it because there's diminishing returns. So if you practice League, if you play, an easy example is a sport. Like you can't, your body can't train for 15 hours straight. No, nobody's body does that, and it's effective. Like you're just going to injure yourself. And same with the League. If you're playing more than 8 hours, uh, I don't know what kind of brain usage you have if you're saying you're getting non-diminishing returns beyond like even the 6 hour mark. It's very common for people to do BO5 5 game scrims, and by the fifth game in most scrims, everybody's playing completely terrible. So, but it's just culture, and yeah, your body just can't handle it.
Okay, okay.
So
I hear you. So what you're saying basically is like, all right, everyone's got their limits, right? Even in like traditional sports, there's no way that you could train for 5 hours without like dying or getting injured or passing out or something. So the thing you're thinking about is like, why then would we try to apply the same type of mindset to like esports and train like that way? There's no way. You've been in blocks where by the fifth one, like everyone's playing like shit, right? All right, so let's do the converse. I most recently on Twitter, or at least like when Worlds was happening, you'd have like some region saying like we play this many blocks, at one time. We like play this much amount of time, and if you want to get really really good, like you just have to play a lot. Like counterpoint to that, I guess. What are you thinking about like when professionals or teams are saying those kinds of things, man?
I'll get I'll give the delusional funny answer, which is maybe I'm just not capable enough. Maybe all the top players are just grinding 16 hours and they can just retain it. But there's no way. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe that if there was like a supercomputer that found the best min-max possibility of player performance to training, it has to involve sleep, it has to involve eating well, and it has to involve training effectively rather than just grinding endless hours. So that's
Because
my
even
thoughts on that.
honestly, dude, I would agree with you. Because I was talking to Robert Yip like last week, and the thing he was talking about was like, yeah, they probably are able to do that because their form or like their process of what they're doing in that training session is probably completely different than the ones that you guys are doing. I'm like, that's probably true. Like they're probably also doing the other things that they're not mentioning, like the eating or the resting or like the learning pieces versus just playing like 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day or whatever to sustain their, I guess, endurance to play that long. But absolutely, I think like so many people did the first thing that you wanted to do, was like I'll be rank one, and then I'll get picked up. So, all right, you went through the process, you had that mindset. Fact or fiction? Being ranked one equals going pro.
Fiction. rank one, rank one does not make you pro. Definitely not. Even being high on the ladder, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Like it's hard to ignore somebody that's at the top of the ladder, and if you're performing well, I would say if you're performing well, every single game in game one, you're not a one trick and you have good comp experience and you're a likable person. How can you not go pro? But that's there's a lot of things like that you have to be on top of being rank one.
Okay, so tell me, how did you change that mindset? What was your come to League of Legends Jesus moment of like, dang, it's not just my mechanics, my fingers, or like if I can one trick my way to rank one, but there's other things. Like, how did you learn that?
You kind of learn it by diminishing the value of being a high rank in general in League of Legends. Now it's like a double standard. One, you cannot people are not going to respect you if you're not a high rank. But two, once you're a high rank, you understand that people at high ranks are they're just terrible. Like so many people on the ladder are either the one tricks. Back in the day, there was the notorious. I mean, there was dynamic queue where you could queue up with five people, but it would count towards the solo queue ladder. Then there's morning queue abusing, where you queue up in the morning and get a bunch of people in lower ranks, but you get the same amount of LP. And then, I mean, obviously there's cheaters. There's people that win trade to it. There's people that are ghosting, and or just abusing bad players, like rushing Moby boots and doing stuff that are not comp viable, but would work in solo queue. And
Mm.
when you learn that, that's a lot of players, or I know a lot of pro players have this same mentality. It's like the ladder's fake, but you have to play regardless.
So for you, when you're like, oh, on the way of becoming rank one, what I've come to learn is that there's a lot of ways to become high ranked. That doesn't just
Mhm.
involve being good.
Yeah.
And once I kind of unlocked that or understood that there's different ways to climb, per se, and I reached it, what did it turn into? I guess being high ranked. Like you said, devalued it, but like, what does that actually mean to you?
It doesn't show truly who you are as a player, but I think you kind of have to hit the ranks a good amount of times. Like I've finished challenger more than 8 years now, so maintain challenger throughout the entire year, and it's like this season I can finish diamond one. I know in my heart that I'm a good comp player and I'm a good solo queue player if I need to be. And I think because I'm trying to think when did I like stop thinking, because it's hard. If you're trying to climb and you're not challenger, you feel it and it feels bad. But I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I
Yeah,
really don't.
because I mean, I remember we were talking earlier, and like, there was that the story you told, at least from what I remember, is like you were trying to hit rank one, and like, I can be rank one all the time, or I need to like be challenger all the time, and then it was like, oh, but then like I was in like champions queue or whatever, I was playing against pros, and then like I looked at their OPGG and they're like diamond, and then I was like,
Oh, that's
oh, why am I caring so much if I know these pros are like their challenger at least, but when I look at their OPs, it's like diamond.
yeah. I mean, if we want like a crazy example, like Faker finished diamond like 4 or 5 seasons. He's not a diamond player. He's definitely not. So once you know like people like that exist, or just a lot of pros are like that. They'll have really bad solo queue. It's not really like that in the US, but in North America, there's definitely a lot of people that don't grind the ladder, pro players.
Yeah, so for you, what do you think now that you're at this point in your career? Although, yes, you can acknowledge that being high ranked is really, really important. Now that you're here at this point in your career, what have you found is like maybe more important than just your rank alone?
I think this point in my career, scrims matter a lot more than solo queue, and that also stems from your team. Like you would not care if your teammates play solo queue if they perform well in scrims. Now, if they're not performing well in scrims, the first thing they're going to look at is your solo queue. Your solo queue is like a good indication of a lot of things, because it's really hard to be a really good player and be bad at solo queue. So at least you have that, even though being good at solo queue doesn't make you a good player. So there's
Hmm.
that, and but just playing well, having good habits in general. Because if if a random like new OTP can hit rank one, then you just gotta be a good teammate and you just gotta be a good player. It really doesn't matter. Your solo queue doesn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, now that we're here, right? Because that's something that like I don't think a lot of people really focus on. Because you said, yeah, solo queue really matters, but it's scrims. Like if you do really well in scrims, like it's chill. But if you don't do well in scrims, they look at like something else to kind of measure how you're doing. So solo queue. But you're saying like if you're just a really good like teammate, then and you do real in scrims, you're chilling. So what does that mean though? What does being a good teammate in League of Legends means? Because I feel like that's such a broad term because it's kind of like yeah, just be a dick. But like for you, when people say like okay, this to me a good teammate means looks like this.
You know, maybe I should retract the statement a little bit. Not even a good teammate, just a good player. You could be a big old dickhead, but as long as you're not griefing your bases, your team fighting well, you're laning well, your teammates are not going to care. They might not want to play with you next split, but they're not going to tell you to go play more solo queue. Now you could be a great person, a great teammate, someone who's uplifting towards people that are doing bad, being a strong communicator. But if you play bad, they're gonna tell you to go play solo queue.
Okay, so are you saying like is there no personality hires in League of Legends?
There's no sorry.
There's no personality hires in League of Legends. Is that what you're saying?
Eh, pretty much. I mean, there's the like the reverse of that. Like if you're known to have a really bad personality but be a good player, you're not going to get onto a team. That's
Mm,
so both must be true.
that's fair. That's fair. All right, so dude, listen, you've been in the scene for a while, right? Like you've been in the scene, you've played like a lot with a lot of teams, you played on pretty much every level of League of Legends, and I'm curious, dude, like what keeps you going?
It's the competitive drive has never burned out. That is all I can think about is always just competing.
And I guess like what is that like what does competition mean to you? Like what makes it so important?
I don't know. Maybe it's deep down in my childhood of being compared to all the time, but I think I've grown to loving it. There's even like casual. There's no casual competitive game I can play without thinking like I need to be better at this. It's very hard. I can't pick up new games. It has to be like story mode games, and then
Mm,
I can play it. But if it's like, oh guys, let's hop on Counter Strike or something, bro. Like I can't because if I'm bad at the game, like I have to be better, and that's yeah. I don't know how healthy of a mindset that is, but I think that's what's carried me all this way.
yes. Okay, so like speaking of mindset, like now that you're here and I know that you're like, man, I'm one of like the older players in the scene now. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, first of all. Um, how do you think your mindset has changed from like when you first started to the motivation, to things that push you forward, to some of the experiences you've had, to where you are now, and like your mindset, your approach, and the way that you think of the game? Because I think it's really, really cool to think about like how that's changed for you. Because I know that, you know, you said "Oh, I was really depressed and this is where I started, to now I'm on the other side of looking at all these routines and systems and things. So, yeah, how's your mindset changed over time, you think, as a competitor?
The the big one that's changed is the understanding that you cannot get better if you treat yourself terribly. It's not. It can only take you so far. And once you hit a plateau, if you continue to try to grind your way through, it's not going to work. It definitely won't work, and it'll just punish you. And if the person that's out there, because I can open up the ladder and I'll see somebody with 4,000 games, guaranteed. And I know the person's mindset is that they don't need to eat or sleep. It's not propaganda. Your body will protest, and when your body protests, you're gonna play bad, guaranteed, 100%. And when you have that mindset, you kind of become more civilized. You know, you shower more, you eat, exercise, and all the good stuff, and you can just be like a normal. You can be a normal human being that is very good at a game.
Okay, so when did you realize that what you were actually doing to yourself wasn't pushing you forward? It was just more like self-abuse. Like, when did you see that?
It's probably 2020, no, 2019, 2020. I I was at home from summer. It was after my first year of college, and I was grinding an insane amount. And I was eating terribly. I stepped on the scale and I saw two digits on the scale. I was
Two
98 pounds as an
nine.
adult male. And I'm
Damn.
telling people like to call me short, but I'm not that short. Not to be 98 pounds. And I could see my ribs, and I'm like, bro. And I look at my rank. I'm not even challenger. Like, bro, like I peaked. I was already challenger the year before, and I'm diamond. And I'm looking at my body. I'm a skeleton, bro. I can't.
Bro.
And I knew there was a problem. And at that point, I just like it wasn't like a super life changing. It wasn't like the next day I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start eating healthy. I'm gonna do all these things that are gonna be benefits. But I did know it was like, damn, this does not work.
Wow, that
So
must have been
yeah,
a crazy, like as a volleyball player too. So you must be kind of tall. I'm trying to look for like anything on your like a Wikipedia, tell me how tall you are, and I can't
not
find
all,
it.
not all propaganda
Bro,
before this
let's.
ever like if this ever resurfaces. I'm not that tall.
He's 6 feet. He's 6 feet. He is like now he's like 185, all ripped up. I'll spare the propaganda, bro. All right, so that's really interesting though. Like, okay, I am like forcing myself with this one mindset. I mean, for you, did you like was what was driving you? Do you think it was like I want to be the best, somebody working harder, a mama mindset? Like, what do you think the thing was like driving this version of yourself to create emaciated rovex to like diamond rovex? Like, what was the mindset you think that drove you to that point, man? Because I feel like a lot of people like have these I wouldn't say broken mindsets, but like these overused mindsets that like make them do things that they think are helping, but are maybe more counterintuitive than they think. So for you, what was like that thing that moved that mindset?
You know, speaking of what the mindset could have been, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that we're so professional about this. Like we're just talking about like, yeah, we were grinding for like 15 hours. It wasn't that good for my professional career. Yeah, he told me I was a league addict. I was addicted. I had a problem. Straight addiction. Now
Well,
that might be even a topic to talk about.
Well, I
But
mean, so glad you brought that up because, like, as a psychologist, right, when we talk about like addiction or addictive gaming behavior or just addiction in general, like we talk about not just the behavior, right? Because we can say like absence models don't do it, right? But really, what's more effective is we look at the function of the behavior. So like what the behavior was for, what was the purpose? Because also like oftentimes like the function drives it. Because I mean, like for example, like all right, I'm drinking. All right, that's what people see. But what they don't see is like, all right, maybe I'm drinking because I don't know how to communicate my feelings. Maybe like men don't talk. This is what my dad did or whatever. Like this is easier to do, and that's why I drink, right? And then if we do like the work, that's typically the things that we're working on to cease the drinking behavior to replace it versus just stop drinking, right? So could have been addiction. So if we're going like from that angle, for you, what was the function of the behavior, not just the behavior, my boy?
I was always a firm believer if you're a good player, you'll have a positive win rate. Because I mean, just based off pure math, if you're the good guy in the lobby, there's 10 players. You can only have 4 griefers. The enemy can have up to 5 griefers.
Only? You forgot about the
Yep.
other 4 people on your team.
Yep. But by statistics, you will win. You will climb. And if you truly subscribe to that thought, you will just grind endlessly because you're going to win on a long enough time scale. So you just have to keep playing games. Now, if that's masked as a crippling addiction and someone would need to seek help, I don't know. But that was my mentality. I was a good player, and I would climb. I just gotta play more.
See, I also used that mindset when we went to Vegas the other day or the other month, and it cost me $800. All right, that was my, I gotta bet more. I just gotta hit the dice a couple of times, and I'm out. Never hit those dice, man. But I swear, if I just bet more, I would have made it big. I swear to God.
Double it every time, make it back and more.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right, so sounds like all right. If you could go back in time, I guess, and like you saw yourself or like getting to this point of where you are now on the light side, like I guess the first one is, what do you think you would have told yourself? And then the second one is, do you think you would have believed you?
I would I would tell myself that I would make myself ask myself questions. Am I really getting better doing this? And what do you think? maybe not at the time because at the time it was always the Koreans worked harder and the Koreans were grinding all the
Mm,
time. So maybe as a younger version of myself, I would only believe that and not believe of everything else of because I didn't really I was when I first hit Challenger, I had a part-time job.
damn.
I was doing Muay Thai and I was doing well in school. I was balancing everything out. So I should have known. So when I got older and I got into the depressive state where I was only playing League all the time, I should have known that that was making me play better at the time.
Mm,
So I don't know if I could if me right now as a tier 2 player or someone who's finished like third in like challengers talk to me as a role model, I 100% would have believed it. But at the time I didn't have that. So,
mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
never
had such
know.
strong mindsets, and the other one that the other mindset I think was really really interesting was the one that you described when we were talking earlier was I don't want anyone's help or like I wanna know that I earned this. So what was remind me what was that mindset about? Where did this come about, and how do you think it affected you in your career?
Oh yeah. When I was in season 6, season 7, I would see players that were like even masters in solo queue and they would just be friends with people on teams. And it was just pure nepotism because and you would figure that out 3 months later when they finish the split or they get kicked mid split that they just social climb their way through. Now, I'm not going to say everyone who doesn't isn't willing or isn't like a superstar in solo queue is just a social climber, but it did happen in the past, and I would just heavily, heavily resent those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to be that guy who made it through no connections, just pure raw skill. And I was so hard headed about that. Even my brother who told me, like he's an optometrist, and he said the whole world's connections. I said, you don't understand nothing. This is esports. Like I can be the best and I can get onto the team this way. So I was wrong.
And he's like, as an optometrist, boy, listen, you got to see it from this perspective, right?
Yep. Yep. Gotta do anything it takes, make any connections, and the whole world is about relationships.
Okay, how did you have to learn that though? Because I feel like that's like a really strong mindset. Like I believe that as a player, I hate social climbers or I hate like people who use their social connections to get on these different teams. So I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be the guy that like works hard and I'm gonna get picked up for my effort. And if I show them enough, if I do the right things, if I perform or whatever, they will see my hard work. And what did you find? What did you learn, man?
I learned so many lessons from that. You know, looking
True though.
back at the younger version of myself, I give him props. You wasted 5 years of your life. You know,
Wasted.
anytime my friend went pro, I didn't even congratulate my friends that went pro at the time. I would just stop talking to them. Like, nice, you made it, bro. It's gonna be my turn later, and then we'll talk again, bro. It was so I'm like actually sick in the head thinking about
Oh,
it, but I can
whoa.
understand it. I can really understand it. But I would burn relationships like that because not just because I didn't want to social climb or like social climb, even though they were my friends. I just like didn't feel like deserving to talk to them. And then, uh, oh man, dude, I'm getting like massive flashbacks.
Yeah.
That's bad. All that stuff's bad. But I only learned that like this whole connection stuff. When I played on a team, I'm not gonna disclose it now because now it's on stream. I played on an org, and that org had a very, very, very toxic player that I did not agree to play with. But the org thought it was a really good player, and after the split, I was traumatized. The first time I shed tears on a team like
Oh,
scrimming
damn.
was on this team. And after I finished that split, I told myself, and I've still said to this day, I will not play with someone who is just like an evil person or just like such a negative person. I'd rather play with someone who is worse but has a great attitude because I can work with a great attitude and I got the perseverance. Maybe me in 3 years from now will look back and like be like, oh, you should play with this guy and just taking the mental damage. But my mentality now,
Don't do that.
I refuse to play with anyone like that. And the whole social connection is like if you're friends with somebody, maybe that guy social climbs off you because you're his friend and you get him on the team. But at least I know the guy now. I'm on the other side. Like I'd rather take my friend than someone who's better than him.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think you have experienced a lot of things like this experience is kind of like other players have experienced where like I'd rather play with someone that's chill and will take direction or at least we'll have agreements or discussions and we can talk about it versus someone that is really really good but they're a mental terrorist and every time they come in the room I get shaky because I don't know what kind of day today is going to be. Yo,
Yep.
Kobe says to get your LP up, low. What's up, Kobe? And Mangekyo, don't worry, we'll cover some of that stuff later, Matt. But I'm trying to like, I'll get to that. But yeah, that's really really interesting. So much so that like you had opportunities, but you're like, I don't want these even like opportunities because I want them to call me because I want them to say that they noticed me versus, oh, my friend told me about this one thing that could turn into something, but I don't want it. That's the easy way.
Yeah. Crazy
Man,
to think about. Because if the opportunity were presented to me now, all right, boys, like, oh, I can get you an LCS trial. Yeah, bro, get me in, bro. Down a heartbeat now. But 17-year-old me, never, never. That's just dishonorable. That's just distasteful. That's disgusting.
dishonorable, man. These are some like it's so funny because even like listening to you and like the words that you're using, like they're so strong. Dishonorable, like disgusting, like never. Like this is how like deep that mindset was, and I wonder like how many other players when they first start League or their journey in League, like this is how it's supposed to be. Like you, I have to hit rank one and then I can blah blah blah, or I have to get on a team and then show them this through my skill, and then that's going to get me there. And it's so interesting because I wonder, you know, we talked earlier some of the things that other mindsets that you still have. It's like, man, I'm an old player. People must think these things of an old player. And it's like, no, dude, like as like an older player, you have all these other things, and then you're like, yeah, something that people really want me to do is like lead. So I guess like what has that transition kind of been like from growing that skill or like developing into a leader on each team that you go into now?
What you have to know a lot about the game, and I've played for too long, and I've played so many high stake matches. I've I've just been playing comp forever, and naturally, when you do that, you can guide people that are not quite there, and you're just leading a path. Really, it comes with experience, and I guess the personality types too, because there's players that have been playing for a long time, but they're still very quiet people. And I think if you have both, if you have experience plus you have the willingness to talk, you will just naturally lead people.
So I guess like have you seen yourself in some of these players that you're now trying to lead or where they are where they get stuck?
I did meet a guy recently. I see him trying to lead, and I did have friends that are in the tier two scene ask me like, how do you lead better and stuff like that. I kind of see it, but it's with League, you don't really have designated shot callers like that. At the time, it was like C9 High was like the guy who did it.
Hmm.
But then after that, it was just nobody because League is such a complex game and they don't really have like IGLs like they do in shooters or like Valorant and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't really come across that too much.
How your style though? Of like, I see you getting stuck in the way you play the game, or I see the way that you're getting stuck in the way that like you're trying to approach how you're supposed to win at the game or training in the game. Where you saw it like this, or just kind of seeing like, oh, that's interesting. I remember what that was like.
When I see players like that, I mean, it's all it's all like a chroma of the same scenario. It's
Okay.
always the person that focuses on the results, not the process. That happens. That can be the case for so many things, not only with grinding LP or when it comes to shot calling. That whole topic in itself, it all stems from this. I'm looking at it from a results and not from how I'm training or how I'm making this process happen.
Hmm. Okay. So you're saying like, okay, most of the issues come from they want it like now, or they just need the results without actually going through the fire of like understanding how and why and where things work.
Yeah, it's a good example is like when you watch a team fight and then you're like, oh, this guy clicked bad. I should have called him to click better. Bro, that's not it's not a real thing. Like they look too into the specifics of things and not the concepts. And when what people get stuck with is that they get stuck with the certain situation that happens and the very micro parts of it that will never replicate itself again. You cannot have the same game with 10 champions with the same items with the same cooldowns happening ever again. Maybe one in a billion chance that will happen. And people like to focus on the nitty gritty and try to convince themselves that they're doing something. Now, it might take them the same mental effort and they do that for like 5, 6 hours and they're like, I worked really hard today. But no, you just looked at 5 out of 10 billion scenarios that will never happen again.
And even if you make the five same champions from this, or same 10 champions in this game, and even if you had the same items and you tried to approach the same objective from the same angles, unless you have, which you don't have right now, that like freeze frame ability where like to freeze a fight, and then like, for example, this is the 2025 fight between Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses or whatever, and like this is okay, play. Right? Like sometimes you can set scenarios up like that, and for like Madden, for example, like this is 1969 Bears versus the Steelers in this bowl, and here's the play on fourth down. There's a challenge. You have to throw it, right? Like you can set it up like that, but they have not done that with League. Nor I don't know if they even could, because that'd be even like crazier to do, right? Like save all these games, like all these pro games to actually play out. Because I know in StarCraft that you can do it, but like I don't think for this they could. But even if you were to do that, it still would be different from any point that you play, like push play. It would just be different already. Like
Mm.
you could kind of play it, but even the play out would be different. So how then can you, like you said, use cognitive flexibility to generalize and apply the lessons from this one scenario, from this one fight in this one game to all your other future games with a similar lineup or similar concept, right? Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
But what
yeah,
most
of
people think
course.
is just like, dang, I shouldn't have flashed into the wall there and would have been fine.
Yeah, it's like they look at what are like quick fixes. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this. It's never like a split. It's in League. It's never a split section decision on the grand scheme of things. Now you can watch a game and somebody like misses smite, like, oh, had he hit the smite, he would have won the game. Yes, that's true. But how? But you should probably think, how did the guy even get to the point where he could 50-50 the smite? That's usually a bigger thing. And then like before that, it's like, how did you even get to a position where you had to pull Baron where the guy could possibly 50-50? And it's just like there's a lot of concepts like that in League, and it starts from literally minute one. So
Exactly, or that's like not to be political, but like the most recent thing, like wow, like 40 million people are using 40 million people are losing food stamps. How could this happening? And like, wait, isn't the question why is 40 million people on food stamps? like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
absolutely, that's terrible. How did we get here? They have full time jobs and stuff and still need food stamps. Like, what are we doing? Versus, oh yeah, yeah, this fight. So like, instead of like, of course, if they hit that smite, the fight would have been totally different, and this game would have been completely different. At the same time, what do we do? Where like you're saying, that put us in a position to even burger flip this Baron. That we need this. It comes down to the smite versus it came down to the screen and the smite was easy, or we had to do something and trade something across the map so we could get this Baron uncontested, kind of a thing, right?
hmm yep.
So I guess like, how have you really enforced your own processes of thinking and learning versus just these outcomes, or looking for the small little things like, oh, it was this, the end. So how, for most players, I think that's really, really challenging. But for you, you seem to make that transition from outcome to process really nicely. So what was your techniques to do that, dude?
I compared it a lot to fighting early on in my career. It was you don't when you fight somebody, you don't and you miss a punch, you don't think like, oh, you should have hit the punch. And for League, the meta of VOD reviewing, the whole process was, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. I always thought that like everyone I was working with was just completely insane. Like that doesn't make sense. Imagine you tell a fighter that, oh, you shouldn't have got hit here. No, you tell them how to strike better.
I never
You told them
thought about that.
how to defend better. But like it's so crazy because if you could go back, the people that plagued this was early TSM because they would show their VOD reviews. And they would VOD review on stream and stuff, and it would be like, yeah, he shouldn't have hit the smite. We would have won this fight. That's not a VOD review, bro. Like, dude, the guy just face checked the bush. He didn't lose any HP. He took like you guys have one control ward and in like a 55-minute game. Like, these are the important things. And somehow, somehow, it was my coach Dion Ray. Shout outs to him. He really enforced that. And I'm so glad that I met him because this is everything. It's all concepts. It's the bigger picture. We don't look at the micro stuff. I remember that our first sessions on Blue Water of this last split, it was, yeah, like somebody face checked a bush, then lose HP. To him, it was like this grand concept that something was wrong. And nothing else mattered. Next scrim set, they can't just take our vision like that. Our vision, when is contested, needs to be traded for something, and you're trading it for HP. And it's just like that. And we work on these skills. You work on setup, and because setup happens every game. Dragon spawns every game. Herald spawns every single game. Setups, they might change from game to game, but the general concept of setting up always stays the same.
I really like that. I never actually thought of that. I mean, I've thought of it in the second fact of like, you know, like when they do like the post game interview of like League and that's the coach, what happened? Like the winning coach, like what happened? It always kind of goes around the same kind of thing. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. Yeah, we got kills. We followed the game plan. We did the composition. We executed exactly how we were supposed to do. Good job, coach. What's your plan for next game? We picked this comp, and hopefully we execute this comp that's supposed to be. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, how about the losing team? Coach went wrong. What went wrong? We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We didn't get kills. We didn't do the comp. It didn't come together. Oh, man, what are you going to change for next game? Well, this game, we're going to do exactly what we're supposed to do. We're going to get kills. We're going to execute the team comp. And that's the plan. All right, back to you. And then, that's exactly what to do. That is so funny. I've never overlaid the mindset of how they teach fighters. Or, like, even, like, they sit them on the stool. Like, in between, like, rounds. Like, okay, this is what's happening. You're going to hit this way. I need you to do this instead. Like, they're doing this. We need you to do this. Okay, duck, slip, punch. That's all you're going to go. Okay, go. But they have never said exactly what you're saying. That happens all the freaking time in VOD review. You shouldn't have died there. I know! That's great, coach! Yeah, I didn't pick that out in my brain. Oh, that was bad. Why? Because you died and then they got dragon. Oh my fucking god, I never... Wow! Thank you so much!
You know, I came up with the perfect example in 2016. Or not even, yeah, it was 2016 or 2017. I explained this to my friends. Now, here, I'm holding this brush, right?
Oh, yes.
This is how VOD review goes in early stages. It's happening less. I've met a lot of coaches and they focus on it less. So it's good to know. But I still talk to players and they still have this mindset. So I have this brush, right? I have this problem. This brush just keeps falling out of my hand. Oh, no. Okay, so we go into the Twitch VOD review and that happened. The average coach and maybe 2-3 years ago would tell you, don't drop the brush.
Oh yeah. No, it's bad. It's bad when you drop the brush too, dude. It's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's bad to drop the brush. Like,
don't you know why it's bad?
That's the VOD review. But like nowadays was the brush too slippery? Did you not have grip? Like maybe it's the grip strength. Let's work on grip strength exercises. Let's put more friction on the brush so you can hold it better. That's how you're supposed to. You know, you don't look at the actual event. This like everybody can see that I dropped the brush, but how you hold the brush.
Oh, but see, this is what you're missing though. Don't you know? Because you dropped the brush, what else happened because the brush was dropped? That's what you don't understand.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example. I never like yes, that is the problem. It's like yes, in VOD review, we're going through all the problems, but we're not actually solving them, or we're solving them in this moment of like if we just didn't drop the brush, all the other things wouldn't happen. Yeah, what do you do next time? Don't drop the brush. Yes, that's it. But what happens when you drop the brush? Like we're not actually fixing the problem of the brush dropping or creating contingency plans if the brush drops, or like how we even know if it starts slipping. before it gets dropped, right? Like that's an excellent example versus don't you shouldn't have gotten hit there. Or like you know why you got hit there, right? It's like kind of at the same time I got hit. Yeah, that's so funny because I mean, even thinking that one step further, right? Even applying that to ourselves, how many times do we just hit ourselves for dropping the brush? Right? Or like kicking ourselves down the future while doing our own Robin view of like, oh, because I dropped the brush, all these other things happen versus like, what was I thinking about or looking at that caused me to drop the brush? Or what are the things that happened before that did I know it was slipping or anything else before it dropped? And if you're actually able to do this, now we're doing the thing that you're saying and working on the process. Versus next game, I'm not going to drop the brush. That's like when people are first starting. I don't know if you experienced this or if you experienced someone else talking to you about how they do this. Dude, I always get ganked because I never look at the mini map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer on my phone, and when the timer goes off, I'm going to look at my mini map. What? What do you mean? So every minute you're going to just look at your mini map to see what's going on? Okay, bigger question. What are you using your mini map for? What? Yeah, like when like you I think the reason isn't not I mean, yeah, the cause and the bad thing is you're not looking at it, but I think the reason why you're not looking at it is because you don't know what you're looking for, thus you're not looking at it, right? Or you're thinking about so many things in your mind that it's hard for you to even hold on to. I got to look at this thing because of all the other things that you're juggling versus look at the minimap, right? That's so funny. That is freaking hilarious. I never thought of it that way, but that's hilarious. That's exactly what happens.
Years and years of that.
Dude, it's even crazier to me that like the word coach in League of Legends is just a word, bro. Like coach, like I'm sure you've had your experience of coaches, but in my experience of coaches too, like there is a wide range of what a coach is, what they do, what they focus on, like how they hold scrims, like are they like a gameplay coach? Are they like a relational coach? Are they like a baseball coach turned league? Like what does this mean? Do they talk really good, but they actually are talking about nothing? Or can they actually like, here's the plan for you, coach? You know, it's crazy.
There's a lot of ambiguous terms like that in League. There's coach, there's high elo player,
Oh,
there's challenger player. There's, I mean, dude, there's so many things. Oh yeah, collegiate player, because a collegiate player can be silver too, or they could be on a full ride. They're both collegiate players. Yeah,
yep.
like everything. You could just slap on a title into anything nowadays. So
Yeah, it is
yeah,
really interesting. It is really, really interesting. Even like, or even like analyst, you know, like what do they do? Or like even like mental coach. Okay, we have an idea, but what do they do? You know, there's so many like titles and words, and it's just really interesting because I would think like it would have gotten better.
I feel like it only okay. I'm probably wrong because I'm thinking this way, but I feel like it only happens in League. Like you don't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like why? Like for some reason, like it's League, but like Valorant is kind of different. Then CS is a lot different, but for some reason, like I don't know why, like League. It's fascinating. Like, is it the tier two system thing, or like the way that you come? I don't know. Like, what is actually affecting like the development or like words in this place? It's weird. Or like the process of like getting better. It's so weird. I don't know.
It's terrible. I don't know. League
Cause
is a crazy place. For someone that's worked in real life for so long, I worked as a teenager. I worked or teenager and young adult. I worked as a cashier for 4 years, and
damn.
just comparing real life to League of Legends is two completely different worlds.
Yeah. What do you mean? What have you noticed?
Oh, people in real life can communicate when they, like when they feel a certain way. They'll just tell you they're upset. But I mean, obviously there's a lot of people in real life that don't communicate properly. But in League, there's so many like toxic things. I don't know. People just have really. They usually. I mean, I feel like it's a projection most of the time, or they don't know how to alleviate their emotions. It's just a lot of mental illness. Just a lot of it.
I it's really funny too. I think it's hilarious because it's almost as if too in League we just normalize like it's okay to be like this. Like
I mean,
it's
everyone. Oh
okay.
yeah, the dehumanization of other people in League. It's people find it so easy to do it when it's first off you don't see their face, you don't hear them, so they're not even a person. They're just something,
Yeah,
and then you take your emotions on them.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the other thing funny that's like we assume, like we go into a game, we assume that everyone wants to win or everyone wants to win like the way we want to or taking it as serious, and we forget that everyone else is high. Like just assume everyone's high, tilted, having a bad day, and they're just boss for trying to make your game harder. But then I think it's really hard because I think like it's really interesting hearing your story of hearing like, ah, I really wanted it like this way. I felt like I had to do it this way with this mindset, doing these things so much so that my mindset caused me to be double digits as a tall dude, you know? And it was only when
Yep.
like I saw myself in the mirror like, wow, I'm diamond for this. I'm doing all this for this. And then you really had to stop and think. I'm glad that you're able to pass that mirror and have that thought. It's just amazing to me that I bet you there are more people that still maintain that way of thinking that even if they do make it, they don't last very long because their mind is just too strong. It's interesting. Think about.
And I'm a lucky case because I think I look back at my experiences and I definitely have become a better person from it. But a lot of people fall victim of the cycle of abuse and they become abusers of what they've felt. They like all the anger and they take it out on other people. And then it will go to the next person. They have to choose, will I become better from this experience or will I join them in this because this is what I see all the time. And you see that problem in solo queue a lot. Like League has been known to be a toxic game. Probably the most toxic PC game there is out there. And yeah, it's always been from the cycle of abuse.
Yeah, it really sounds like you're breaking the cycle. So I'm wondering like now that you are here at this point in your career, I guess like what is it now for you? If it's not abuse, what is it?
Mental training,
Tell me
maybe.
more. What does that
I,
mean?
I, I mean, I've come to peace with everything. It's like obviously I get tilted, and then I'll like if somebody's like flaming me, like I'm gonna like defend myself, and like maybe not flame back, but I'm defending myself. And it's just you understand that for one, the biggest problem that people have when they go to flame somebody is they don't understand that they're human. And once you understand the other side of that is that everyone you're interacting with is a person. They have emotions, and if you understand that if somebody is putting so much emotional investment in a single game of League, their life, something is happening in their life for them to do this. And it's so easy to be sympathetic to somebody like that. And it's like you can't really be that upset. That just makes you a terrible person. If you know somebody's suffering so much, and their only way to feel better is to get 21 LP,
Oof,
then at that point you just feel bad for them.
that's true. So it
That's it.
sounds like you helped like inject some humanity inside of like what this game is for you, for other people too.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. There's many years that like I just get flamed, and I'm like, okay, let's Discord.
Yeah.
And out of 80% of people I sign tell the Discord, 80% of people don't join because one, they're either too shy. Most of the time, they're just socially anxious, or they just like very little of the time are they actually just so genuine angry that they don't want to interact. That's rarely ever happens. It's usually they dehumanize you and they don't want to talk to another person. And then of the 20% I talk to, I out of the like 6+ years I've given people Discord links, I've never had a person that was still upset with me after that we talked it through. Never, not a single time. And I've done this over like hundreds of times. Everyone they calm down. They're like, yeah, I was acting inappropriate, or like, oh, I didn't know that you didn't accept your mistake. Like I played things wrong too, and I would just say like straight up, like, yeah, I made a mistake, but why are you so upset? And he's like, oh, I just had a really bad day. I just have this shitty jungler, and people are they're just normal.
So,
And yeah,
so basically, you're the dude like that is walking the San Francisco Bridge, asking people if they want to have a cup of tea with you. With you,
pretty
that's you.
much. Yep. I mean, I was once a guy that was just under that bridge as well. Might have not been acting the same way, but I was definitely under that bridge as well.
Wow, that's powerful, man. Okay, so for you, I'm curious because it sounds like, as you've grown, as you're matured, you found other things that you found value in like your personhood. Not just League of Legends that can help you like make, I guess, the losses or the things that happen in League not so bad. So how did you do that too? Because I know a lot of people, they have only League, or like this is my core piece of my identity. So once League goes down, like everything else is terrible, and that might have been you, but it sounds like now you've transitioned to something else. And what was that like?
I still feel it time to time, so I'm not perfect in any sense. But the biggest thing is always back to the topic of focusing on the process, not the result, because you're not going to be able to control your wins. That's just a fact of life. Yeah, I mean, you can't control anything that happens in your life to an extent. I might walk outside my house and a car hits me. I can't control it, but I'll work on my processes. When I cross the street, I'll look both ways. I'll make sure my awareness is good outside. When I go to play League, I'm gonna make sure what I'm doing is good for my game, and that if I'm a good player, then it'll reward me in that way. So focusing on the processes, because you can always do that. You can always have good map awareness. You can always control your tempo. You can always trade well. You can always team fight well, but you can't always win. And when you have that mentality, you don't think of why you lost your game, but you think more so of how can I be better for next time. And every time you play, it's how can I be better.
How can I be better? So, okay, would you say then you took the emphasis out of if I win, that's who I am versus I am my processes that I tinker and work on?
I'm playing to get better. That's it. Maybe okay, but not right now. Not right now. If somebody like fact checks me on OPGG, I'm playing jungle. Like I'm playing for LP, but other than that, I'm like for when I queue support, I'm just practicing my skills. I'm practicing F keying, I'm practicing good warding habits, I'm practicing tracking, like and when I'm doing that, it's very, very hard for me to get frustrated with losing the game.
Yeah, because it sounds like your mental has like really has gotten like more even keeled as the years has gone on. Because what you're focusing on is also very, very different than when you first started.
Yeah. And it's easy now because I'm an established player now. So getting onto tier two teams, they're not gonna look at my OPGG and say, like, oh, you're low rank. You're not getting on a team. It's That's not gonna happen anymore. So I've kind of I get like a pass on that, so I don't have to think of that as much. Rather, someone who's just coming up in solo queue who's gonna be like, oh, how are teams gonna look at me when I'm like GM or masters? So I feel for those players, but at the end of the day, if you are playing to get better, you will climb.
All right, so since you're like in tier two now, or you're trying to climb back into tier one, what would you say are some like messages or like pieces of encouragement, or what would you tell players who are in your similar position too about their path and what they want to do if they still want to keep going pro and stuff?
Take care of yourself.
Oh, damn.
That's it. Take care of yourself. That's the number one thing because you can make it if you work hard enough. And people that associate working hard with playing 16 hours a day, you're just in the wrong. Objectively speaking, you're not going to get better like that. I always tell this to I've talked to a lot of high elo players that are like, I'm gonna take a gap year, and they're talented enough to get a full ride in collegiate, and they decline collegiate. And I always tell them, if you're gonna go to tier one, I haven't played in tier one, so maybe I'm messed up in the head or something. But if you're talented enough at the game, you can balance school and healthy living on top of going to tier one. Because so many like Maryville has like produces so many of these tier one players. And if you're gonna decline that because you think grinding 16 hours a day is the proper means to climbing, don't do that.
Yeah. They don't even do that in tier one. I think what's really interesting,
Yeah.
I like that shout out because in my opinion, like don't get me wrong, I think there's well, the path to pro is so rough and it's different for a lot of different people how they want to take it. At the same time, I think there has been differences between players that have gone through collegiate or at least gone through college and players that just came straight out of like their own bedroom trying to go pro. Like the way they think, the way they can communicate, the life skills of balancing, like, oh, I actually have to do my laundry and like eat and wash dishes and then like play. Or like, oh, I actually have to like talk not like a dick because then if I do so, people want to play with me. Like there's more things that they're like mature about and they think about versus like people that just started. So I definitely agree with you of what you're saying. At least if you're not even if you do go to college and you don't play, you're picking up so many more life skills that translate more into the game than just like being good. So absolutely,
Mhm.
our man.
Yeah, I mean, someone's gonna have that mentality of like, I don't care if I don't have life skills. I don't care if this. I don't care about anything. I'm just gonna go pro. Someone will still have that mindset, but you only learn the hard way when it comes to that. So,
Dude, I had this one player and he was making bucks, but he didn't want to come to practice on time. So they like talked to him, then they fined him $50 a day. Then it was $100 a day. Then it was 150, 200, 250. It got up to like $1,000 a day. He still wouldn't come on time. I'm like, dude, what is happening? You've lost 20K in this 1 week and you're still being hard head about this? Like, what is happening? So, these things that you're working on now, like being on time or going to sleep or like all these other processes that you think are useless, it's a job at the end of the day once you become the thing that you want. And so, how are you going to manage be like, although a professional doing the job? Because sure, it's fun, but what's your hard? Is your hard doing the VOD review and actually learning? Is your hard focusing on the processes? Like, what's your hard? And then that's the thing that you need to figure out and like focus on, right? It's really, really interesting. All right, man. Damn, I'm looking down the clock and it's like already 4:30, which is crazy. So, listen, where can people find you if they want to contact you and hang out or they want to see some of your content or they want to connect with you? Selfless plug time, man. Where can people find you?
just rovex lol on Twitter. I think that's my Twitter handle. I don't really use socials. So I don't really.
What do you mean, dude? Like you got that's a brand,
I
bro.
should. I should. Like, if I want to make it, I should probably do it. But I've been focusing a lot in real life and social media. If you stay on that too long, bad stuff happens. So
That is very fair too. Bad stuff do
be
be
careful with
happening.
the content you consume.
Yeah. All right. So, shout that out. Now, if you're gonna give three takeaways, my friend, or three pieces of advice for either your old self, the comer uppers, anyone, what would you say were like some pieces of advice from Rovex, some TMs, man?
First one, take care of yourself. If you think you're working hard, eating, sleeping, and exercising is going to be more beneficial for your gameplay. That is one. Two, relationships you want to maintain and make, because not everything is about social climbing. Sometimes people, it doesn't hurt to make one, it doesn't hurt to make friends, and two, you'd rather play with someone that you can work with rather than someone you can't work with and is talented. Three, focus on the process. Yeah, not the end goal or the outcome. Yeah, just always focus on the process, and you always be able to take away things. Yeah, just self-reflecting, and you'll be good.
Hell yeah. All right, those are awesome pieces of advice. I love those three takeaways. And also, if you want to follow my good guy Rovex, follow him at Rovex LOL on X. Hopefully, he puts more content up there, and you can talk to him or reach out to him if you want coaching or you want to hang out with him or get some VODs or see how you want to get better too. Shout out to Kobe and Mangyeko for hanging out. Mangeko, you said you're struggling with current with scenarios and Voltec benchmarks. What you want to rank up, but you just can't. I got you. I believe next week I'll be back in the Voltaic Discord, so meet me there and we can talk about that, or shoot me a message on Discord. We can definitely help you. And yeah, Kobe said that you need to get your LP up, man. Stop sandbagging, he says. But yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out with us on this episode of Queue Up. Hopefully soon it'll be back on YouTube. I have to cut it up and edit and all that kind of stuff, but I'll be there. And come hang out with me next week, Monday. We'll play some League. We can do some voltaic stuff. I hope everyone has a amazing Thanksgiving. Please be safe. Please give your family members a hug, or at least the ones you like. And we'll be back soon. All right, man. Take us out. Say goodbye to everybody, and then stay right there, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. And it was a pleasure talking. It's always fun and time always flies like hour and a half.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
And then the thing I'm thinking
Crazy
about,
stuff.
dude, is like when either season gets started or like in the middle of the season or postseason, the split, come back with talk stories. We can do a recap of everything and your reflections. How's that?
Oh yeah, sounds great. Because
Hell,
I got big stuff planned, hopefully.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so you stay right there. Everyone else, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the follows. Love you. Take it easy. Pieces. Mwah. Bye. And remember, Sacramento wins. Pieces.